just tell the truth and trust in the American people that over time they're going to know what the truth is.
Yes, it is time for the truth. Right here, right now. This is the Conservative Syndicate. Real conservative talk from real conservatives. With your host, John Matthews.
The latter-day prophet. Baying against the hypocrisies of our time.
And Joe Hakos.
You want answers. I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
The Conservative Syndicate is comprised of some of the most informed pundits and activists available today. Together, we seek to tear down the imaginary wall, a separation between church and state through education, information, and engagement on the religion of politics and the politics of religion. And now, your host on the globally syndicated Conservative Syndicate, John Matthews and Joe Hakos.
Hey, how are we doing out there? All across this great republic of ours and around the world, it's time for the Conservative Syndicate. Once again, coming to you live, coast to coast, and everywhere else in between. We're glad to have you with us today. I'm your host, John Matthews, along with Joe Hakos. And we got in terms of relativism, I think we're going to have a pretty light show for you today. Nothing too heavy, but I think a lot of irony and even some comedy. And you've got to be a conservative, though, to appreciate the comedic side of what we're going to be talking about today, especially in dealing with the stories, the latest spin. You know, it's like the Clinton campaign is in such spin mode, they've all got to be getting dizzy by now. It's just round and round and round, trying their best to minimize the damage control, not only with Hillary Clinton's health situation, but her deplorable remark that was made earlier, I think, over the weekend. I think it was over the weekend. Anyway, it doesn't matter when it was said. It just matters that it was said. And we're going to talk about that today. We've got special guest with us today in the second hour. Our former senior Conservative Syndicate panel member, Karen Sigmund, will be back, going to pay us a visit here. She's going to talk with us about her latest endeavor. She is the new chairman of the American Freedom Alliance, and she's going to be filling us in on what's going on there. You may have remembered her from, she's also the founder of Rage Against the Media, a media watchdog group, and so she's going to be with us. So, there's a lot of weird stuff going on there. It's kind of a weird day in the news. I mean, weirder than most, I guess, in the sense that they're looking even more doofus than they normally do, and more idiotic than they normally are. And we're going to have some fun with that today. So having said that, let me get my partner in crime here. How you doing, Joe?
I'm just trying to power through my deplorable day. If I could use those terms. Yeah. How stupid some of these, this is how bad it is. I was just, just had the television on, wasn't really paying attention to it, and had these idiots on Fox, a former press secretary for George Bush, Dana Perino. Yeah, that's her.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she's out there telling something about Republicans. Yeah, want to know how Republicans should be doing something. Need to go and read this article at Salon, the Salon magazine. And I'm like going, oh, really? Salon now. That's where you're going to find out how it is to be a good Republican now. Go to Salon magazine. Thank you so much. And that network is off the rails. There is no place to find any kind of conservative news or anything else going on. Everything is progressive. There's not a major American network out there that is not pandering to the progressive left.
Yeah, Salon is about one of the most liberal rags that are out there. The only ones I'm thinking that are even comparable to what they do, and that's Vox, Ezra Klein's website, and Think Progressive. There's another one for you that is really strange. Think Progress, that's what it is. Think Progress. And there's one other one out there. I mean, I bunch all these guys. Oh, Mother Jones. I put these people in it. They're in my deplorable basket. All right.
Yeah, sure. I mean, but that was just like, really, and I'm like, are you kidding me? And I didn't even wait for her to, whatever it is she was saying, because it really didn't matter to me anymore, because I was just like, okay, this is where this network has gone now. And I just went, I'm out of here. Goodbye.
Yeah.
And, let me put a load of laundry in the washing machine, I'm serious.
Well, I knew somewhere along the line here, this was years ago, when Joe Scarborough broke into the MSNBC ranks as the conservative representative on that station, which I guess compared to all the other ones, you would, he's farther to the right. Not much, but, a little bit more. And I just, as I've listened to him off and on throughout the last 7-8 years that I've been on the air, and, every once in a while he strikes it right. I think he kind of stumbles into the truth once in a while. And I thought, this to me seemed like, I bet you this is like the eventual evolution of what Fox News will be like. And sure enough, I'm one of these people that, a lot of people, I have friends and a lot of conservatives, quote unquote conservatives by their own definition, that tell me, that people like Bill O'Reilly's great.
Huh.
And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. I've got to be deaf, stoned, and drunk in order to listen to Bill O'Reilly talk about anything, because all he talks about these days is his latest book.
Yeah, absolutely. That's at least half of his show anymore.
Yeah, well, if he didn't have Waters World and Dennis Miller on there, it would be a complete waste of time. And I was kind of sorry. The guy that I really like, probably, if we were going to sit here and weigh in on all these pundits that are out there, and one I probably have more respect for than any of them, even though I don't agree with it, almost everything he talks about, it would probably be Lou Dobbs. Lou Dobbs he doesn't try to paint himself as anything other than what he is. He doesn't claim to be a conservative. I think he's more of maybe a libertarian kind of guy. But but you take somebody like Chris Wallace. Chris Wallace is obviously a libertarian. And yet they paint him as a conservative pundit just because he's on Fox News. Of course, they paint Megyn Kelly as a conservative because she's on Fox News. And I just think Megyn Kelly, to me, is Rachel Maddow with a better haircut. It's just and better makeup.
They're not a trained monkey than them people anymore.
Yeah, so I don't put a whole lot of stock in him, and I really tried to rehabilitate myself with Sean Hannity, because at least he is out there trying to pump Trump up. He's out. I mean, almost every show now is about Trump with him, and I give him credit for that. But he's still to me just a parrot. I can't go back to the way I used to think those guys. So when I start thinking and I start weighing in and measuring the pundits that are out there, I think we're the best.
Well, it's a sad thing, though. There is no place to get conservative point of view on a major American network anymore. There just is not a place. It's done. There's you once in a while you'd find a little morsel of conservatism on Fox, but it ain't even close anymore. It's just it's gone.
No, and I guess the reason is because, whether we want to admit it or not, progressivism, just like sex and violence, sells on TV.
It just tastes so good.
Yeah, it does that. It hits that nerve. That strikes that lobe in the brain that makes you think that everything is going to be okay if we just give somebody else control over everything that's going on in the world. The sitcom mentality. That to me is what the news is. The sitcom mentality. Everything that happens in government, or everything that happens in the world now, what is the government going to do to fix it? It's like that's the automatic response, no matter what. What is the government going to do to fix this?
Yeah, well, the government probably broke it.
Yeah, and you certainly don't want them fixing it or trying to fix it, because everything they touch turns, double bad, triple bad.
Well, the solution to everything is more government.
Yeah, and even
it's like you put too much salt in your French fries, and the only way to make it less salty is to put more salt on it.
Yeah, well, we used the analogy the other day, and this is what news media is like. It's okay, if you drive a really fancy car, you own a really fancy car, that means you're a good driver. It's that kind of thing. It's the way it's dressed up to look and appear, but the vehicle itself, with the wrong driver behind the wheel, we'll get somebody killed. And, that's kind of where the news media is at in my book. And, I listen to some of the stuff out there, but I don't listen to it so that I can take it in as gospel. I listen to it so I know this is what we need to talk about because this is what's really going on.
Yeah, I mean, but you can't even get through that anymore because it's like, oh, my goodness, you got to be kidding me.
Yeah, I know some of the
I could get that on the internet. I don't have to go to watch that. I mean, really, you can just get it on the internet.
Yeah.
So there's very little usefulness to the major American networks anymore.
Yeah, other than, to me, they're good information sources for people like us who can look through read between the lines, see what the real scam is and what the real, story is, and that gives us a point of reference. We know that whenever we're contradicting what's out there in the media, for the most part, we're on the right track.
We must be on target, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Hey, look, we got to take a break. We'll be right back. We'll get into today's festivities of it. We got a couple of little jolts. I'm going to call them jolts because when you hear this stuff, it should upset you. So stay with us. We'll be right back here at the Conservative Syndicate. Don't go away.
A healthy attitude toward politics will always be relentlessly cynical. TheConservativeSyndicate.net, doing our part to keep America healthy.
When our water heater broke down last month, it was a nightmare. It took 5 hours for the plumber to show up, and he charged us a couple of $100 just to come out. And then it cost another $1,800 to put in the new water heater. By the time it was all said and done, I felt like I'd been taken. But what else could I do?
The smartest thing you can do is get a home warranty from American Residential Warranty. Their home warranties pay to repair or replace all your major appliances when they break, and they will break, and at the worst possible time. Call American Residential Warranty right now for free information on home warranties starting at just pennies a day. Don't wait for your refrigerator to stop running or your ceiling fans to stop turning. Call American Residential Warranty right now. Ask how you can save up to 50% on washer and dryer coverage. Just call 1-800-790-5960. That's 1-800-790-5960. Again, 1-800-790-5960. Call now.
Limited time offer, 24-month commitment and credit qualification required. Cancellation fee, auto pay, and paperless billing and other restrictions apply. If you can't see the difference, why pay the difference? Switch to Dish for the best deal in entertainment. Only Dish brings you the best in entertainment for less than $20 a month. Cut the cable and don't get directed. Switch to Dish because at just $19.99, Dish saves you every time you turn on the TV. It's so simple. The same channels cost less with Dish. So since you can't see the difference, don't pay the difference. Switch to Dish for the best deal in entertainment. Get premium movie channels free for 3 months, starting at just $19.99. Dish saves you every time you turn on the TV. Call now to save with Dish. Dial 1-800-600-1645. That's 1-800-600-1645. The same channels for less than $20 a month. Dish. Call 1-800-600-1645 for details.
Hey folks, if you're like me, you don't place a whole lot of trust in today's media for the real truth and facts regarding the volatile world of finance and politics. When I want the real scoop on money, I go to the most trusted source I know, my good friend and colleague, Bob Cardoso. Bob is a noted expert with a PhD in international finance who airs his nationally known, globally syndicated show, Robert Cardoso Live Daily, Monday through Friday, 3 to 5 p.m. Pacific Time. With Bob, you get the right information at the right time from someone who knows his business and can help you make the right decisions concerning yours. Again, Bob airs daily, Monday through Friday, 3 to 5 p.m. Pacific Time. Visit his website at robertcardosolive.com for information regarding stations and topics. That's robertcardosolive.com. Check Bob out. You'll be glad you did.
Attention taxpayers. If you've received a notice from the IRS or state, do not ignore it. It's also a big mistake to try and handle your tax problem on your own. If you owe back taxes, it's a fact that the government has the power to take everything you own, including your home, business, wages, savings, and your freedom. But here's the good news. There's a special toll-free tax hotline set up especially for you. This tax hotline will tell you about new programs that are geared to help you dramatically settle, reduce, or eliminate what you owe. But you have to call now. Take down this number or put it in your cell phone. But call 866-761-0959. 1-866-761-0959. 1-866-761-0959. When you call, you get free information on how you can reduce or eliminate back taxes, including penalties and interest. You can also be helped if you have unfiled returns, a tax lien, wage garnishment, bank levy, or if you've been entered into a payment plan but can't make the payments. Don't make the big mistake in thinking you can ignore or handle your tax problem on your own. You can stop the collection process immediately. Call this special tax hotline today for free info at 1-866-761-0959. That's 1-866-761-0959. 1-866-761-0959.
Don't get your panties all in a bunch.
The Conservative Syndicate.net, exposing weapons of mass distraction. All right, hey, we're back. And you are listening to the Conservative Syndicate, real conservative talk from real conservatives. I'm your host, John Matthews, along with Joe Hakos. My first story that I want to talk about today, I still haven't gotten it seemed to me, as I read it, it was like being punched in the gut.
Yeah, I'm not real sure how I feel about this, John. I know I don't like it. I'm just not sure as to how bad I don't like it.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it was like just a punch in the gut, and it was like, I don't know, and it just, I don't know. I try to think of the right adjectives. Sickening doesn't quite hit it. Perverted comes very close. Ludicrous is very close in the feeling I got. But I was really, as somebody who served in the military, and Joe has served also, actually know and understand the sacrifice that people make when they do join the military and serve in the military. You literally do give up your life. I mean, literally. I mean, it's by law. You really don't have a whole lot of say as to what's going on. And as I've seen the military evolve into this weird political voting bloc all of its own and used for political purposes, more than just defending the country, but more for advancing political agendas of one type or another. I guess the other side of it is fear. That fear that if this is really the way the people running our military today think, I don't know. I don't care how big the military is, but if everybody that's in the ranks is confused, and that's what this looks like to me. It's just another one of these things that are being dropped in the military. It's just confusing as all hell, and just completely outside of the parameters of what the military was created for and the purpose it serves. But Navy Secretary Ray Mabus. Now, I want to just tell you about this guy. This guy was appointed as Secretary of the Navy by Barack Obama in 2009. He is a Democrat, former governor of Mississippi, former U.S. ambassador to Saudi Arabia under Bill Clinton. And, so he's a pretty solid liberal, I guess. And what really kind of sickens me at the very beginning is he is former Navy. And I'm like, oh, man.
To me, that's a big whoop anymore. It's like, I don't really care where they've served anymore. These people are ideologically 180 degrees out of sync with me.
Yeah, and it definitely explains why you hear somebody like Donald Trump say, I may not have the same generals hanging around after I get in there. And this is why, because this guy is probably epitomizes what happens when you become a high-ranking officer in the military. You're no longer an officer. It's no longer about the troops. It's about the agenda of the person who signs your paycheck. And if that agenda is not national security, you can put a lot of people in harm's way for no reason. And I think we've seen that throughout the Middle East theater. That we've got a lot of people who have died in this war, and I don't eradicate George Bush Jr.'s involvement in this either. I'm just saying there's been a lot of useless deaths, wasted money, resources, and of course empowering the enemy because of bad policy decisions. And this is one of the worst. We got a Navy secretary who's out here naming ships after civil rights activists and people that he looks at them as heroes. That's what's blowing my mind here.
Yeah. That's in fact, let's see. Where's the line? Let's see. I've named ships after presidents. I've named ships after members of Congress who have been forceful advocates for the Navy and the Marine Corps. Maybe said in a recent interview, but I think you have to represent all the values that we hold as Americans. Ding, ding, ding. There's some
see, there it is. That is the punchline. I read that and I went, what America is this guy talking? He's got to be talking about Obama's America. He's got to be talking about Clinton's America, which is that we're just, we have all evolved into this great nation, this great melting pot of a nation of not only diversity in our cultures and where we come from, but also in our gender preferences and our activism and everything else. And it's like, this is what heroes are. This guy's identifying these people as heroes. I mean, a couple of the names here. Harvey Milk. Okay, and so now the homosexuals have a hero. I'm like, give me a freaking break. And you're going to name a military ship after this guy? For what reason?
Because he's a homosexual.
Yeah,
because a homosexual, and he got shot on the steps of City Hall.
Yeah, he's the Rosa Parks of the homosexual movement, and
so he's a martyr for the homosexual movement.
Yeah, and so this guy's a hero.
Oh, yes, apparently so, according to the Secretary of the Navy.
Yeah,
Ray Mapus.
Go ahead.
It's not what the military's for, and you know what? It's like tradition be damned. I mean, the military's built on traditions. That's what's kept the military the way it's supposed to be. Yes, it has some good traditions, people. That's part of being in the military is these traditions. And this people have done nothing but try to tear it down. Just like they're trying to tear down the rest of Western culture and civilization. They're trying to tear it all down and say it ain't worth a damn.
Yeah, and so, Barack Obama came into office with one of the key planks in his platform is that the U.S. military are oppressors, not liberators. Okay, we go out and oppress the world. Where he gets that from his father's skewed ideology about us being imperialists and colonists and all this other stuff. But this thing here, I'm going to read it again here. I think you have to represent all the values that we hold as Americans, that we hold as a country. I'm like, no, Americans don't hold these values that we're going to hold up people that represent immorality, lack of ethics, lack of integrity, and just because they served in some capacity in the revolution of socialism and communism and Marxism or whatever. Medgar Evers, I remember him. He was like involved with the Black Panthers, I believe. And Cesar Chavez, here's one thing that nobody talks about Cesar Chavez. Cesar Chavez was anti-union. He's held up as a poster child for the unionizing of illegal immigrants. He was against the unions because he felt the unions exploited the people that they were involved. He was just saying, I want people to be treated equal. Okay, fine. That's great. That's the underlying fundamentalism of what Americanism is about. Okay, the equality, equal opportunity, not equal entitlement, not equal outcome, but equal opportunity. And then Harvey Milk, and he says, and because these are American heroes, just in a different arena. Yeah, the arena of evil.
You and I.
The arena of everything that is counter-American. Okay? It's just amazing. It wants to name a ship after Representative Gabrielle Giffords because she got shot.
Gabby Giffords because she got shot. And that's just amazing to me. What's it going to be? One without any weapons on board? There's not going to be a single weapon on board this ship. And then the other one that really gets to me, right? Really does get to me is John Lewis.
Oh yeah, there's one for you.
Just really a sitting congressman right now and he's going to have a ship named after him now?
Yeah.
Really?
And I was kind of thinking along the lines you're talking about here. What would these ships be? If I was going to name a ship after John Lewis, what would it be? Well, I think it would be one of those decoy ships they put out there to bomb the hell out of. It just sits in the middle of the ocean and doesn't do anything. And it represents him sitting on the floor in Congress, whining and crying about what was it they were crying about? They were crying about not getting. Oh, what was it? Was it the minimum wage or something? There was some really off the wall thing. They were bitching and crying and groaning, and they all had a sit-in Congress. What was it? I forget what that was about. That tells you how relevant it is. Okay, can't remember what it was.
Yeah, and this is how. And they're going to go ahead and they were going to make sure that they make make them pay for that. When Ryan, they brought him back in the session after their 7 weeks of vacation. And we're going, we got rules, and we're going to make sure that they got to be held accountable for. If we just send a nasty letter, and put it in the congressional record, maybe that'll be enough. But I mean, it's ridiculous to think. And I can't I can't even remember what it was about that they were sitting down for.
No, I can't either. I know it was something that they wanted, and it had to be immediately. And I, for some reason, I was thinking it was minimum wage or something like that. Maybe I'll look it up in the break so we can just clarify that. But the point is, if we're going to name a ship after a civil rights leader, why not name one? Is there a ship named after Martin Luther King?
No, I don't believe there is.
Is there?
No, I don't think so.
No. So why not name it after somebody that actually did lead a movement and actually did it with integrity? Okay, I mean, I didn't agree with everything Martin Luther King stood for, but he at least was dignified in the way he acted and the way he did respect the law. He wasn't out there wanting to burn everything to the ground. I find him to be, he was a rather respectable person. I know he had some run-ins with the law before he became a preacher. He had a problem, he had a moral problem. He committed adultery on his wife, things like that. But that's everyday Americans do that all the time.
Here you go. You want to know why they had to sit down here? I just looked it up. Sit in on the House floor over gun control.
Gun control, that was it.
Congressional Democrats led by Representative John Lewis.
Yeah. So
the House's refusal to vote on a gun control measure.
Yeah, so, and I know here, I'm pretty sure here, as I'm speaking here, I'm just punching the name in the search out here, just to make sure I'm right. So I don't want to just sound like I'm just shooting my mouth off here. But I know Medgar Evers. Medgar Evers was an American civil rights activist from Mississippi, and he worked to overturn the segregation of the University of Mississippi. All right, let's see, he was, that was it. I knew he was something. He was the head of the NAACP. He was the field secretary for the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People. Okay, so he was assassinated. I remember that. I remember that much about him, that he was assassinated. I don't remember why. He was assassinated by the White Citizens Council. So, but the point being is that okay, fine. Why not name it after Martin Luther King? And I'll tell you why I think Martin Luther King isn't in the mix here, because Martin Luther King managed to some degree to cross racial lines.
Well, he also has a federal holiday already, so isn't that enough? We don't want to overdo it.
Yeah, well, so I was thinking, if they ever name a ship after Barack Obama.
This Mavis guy's a piece of crap. This is BS.
Yeah, I know. And I'm just thinking, if you're going to name a ship after Barack Obama, I hope it's an oil tanker.
Why don't we name a thing after, I don't know, Grace Kelly? She died.
Yeah.
I mean, so she made movies and made people happy. If it's about how do you make people happy, then why not? I mean, what is this crap?
Yeah,
These are American heroes just in a different arena? Really?
Yeah, well, the U.S. Representative Duncan Hunter was saying that he wants the ships named after service members honored for valor and to inspire their crews.
Thank you.
Okay, yeah, that's the kind of thing you want. You want something that people will be reminded of some great thing that they did that in the defense of the country, not in the defense of civil rights, not in the defense of bigger government or any other crap that these people are out there doing. I mean, if there's an oxymoron for you, we're going to name a ship after Gabby Giffords, who wants gun control, and we're going to put it on a ship that has guns on it.
Yeah, and John Lewis, who protested for lack of gun control.
Right. And like I said, and Cesar Chavez as the poster boy for unions and who was anti-union. It does see the liberals just redefine history and make it into whatever they want to. Anyway, guys, we got to go to a quick break here. We'll be right back. Stay with us right here at the Conservative Syndicate. We got more for you.
Ever wonder how the credit card companies make their money? Well, think about this. If you owe $25,000 on 5 different credit cards and you make your minimum payments every month, here's what it's going to cost you. Are you sitting down? You'll shell out over $13,000 in additional interest, and it's going to take over 13 years to pay off your original $25,000 balance. That's how they make money. Now it's your turn to fight back by calling the Debt Solutions Network. We'll work on your behalf to reduce your debt. We specialize in credit cards, retail store cards, and medical bills. We promise we can and will reduce your debt. Call right now for a free 15-minute debt analysis. 800-709-4392. 800-709-4392. 800-709-4392. 800-709-4392.
Expand your life with Extendovite.
When I had a heart attack at 42, I was not sure what the future held. But a year later, the doctors could find nothing wrong with me and took me off all my medication. What did I do? I took a herbal mixture of garlic, cayenne, and a few other herbs mixed in liquid form. I now call this Extendovite. I would have never believed that a few simple herbs could actually change my life like they did. Now it's your turn to see what the powers of garlic and cayenne can do for you. For only $69.95 plus shipping and handling for a 2-month supply of either capsules or liquid, you too can begin on your path to better health. For more information, call 1-877-928-8822. That's 1-877-928-8822. Or visit our website at heartdrop.com.
Expand your life with Extendovite.
I've owned my company for 14 years now, and I can tell you that payroll is a 4-letter word. I hate doing it. It eats up hours I don't have, and it costs me money I could be saving. But my accountant's too expensive, and I'm not sure who to call. But I know I need help.
We're Paychex, and we take all the hassles out of small business payroll. We save you time and money. It's easy. Call, fax, or give us your payroll information securely online, and we take care of the rest. We calculate the correct taxes, manage payments and direct deposits. We even send out your checks. Payroll doesn't need to be a 4-letter word anymore. We're so sure that we can save you time and money that we'll give you a month's payroll free. Just for calling 877-663-3830. Get 1 month's payroll for free. Call Paychex right now. 877-663-3830. That's 877-663-3830.
Hey, I don't back anybody unless I believe in them. And I do believe in the value of investing in gold and silver. And the company I trust to buy my gold and silver from is Swiss America. I've been working with them for nearly a decade. I trust them, and you can too. Swiss America will help you sort through and find the best options available when you're considering investing in gold and silver coins. Listen, for over 30 years, Swiss America has been offering Americans what they want in their investments: safety, liquidity, quality, reliability, and a potential profit. Gold and silver have a place in every investor's portfolio. So, why not let Swiss America help you diversify your investment portfolio now? Call now for free information. 800-978-3907. 800-978-3907. 800-978-3907. 800-978-3907.
If you've got joint pain, let me ask you a question. Would you like a high-quality knee, back, shoulder, or ankle brace at little or no cost? But just in case your reception isn't great, let me ask you again. Would you like a pain-relieving knee, back, shoulder, or ankle brace at little or no cost? Well, if you have Medicare insurance, you could qualify for these pain-relieving braces at little or no cost. And these are high-quality braces. They are very comfortable, and they've helped thousands relieve their pain. Now, I'd like you to imagine going on vacation, playing with your grandkids, just living your life again without pain. The Mobility Hotline is a referral service that connects folks with Medicare coverage and other insurance to accredited companies offering pain-relieving braces at little or no cost. And don't you worry about the Medicare paperwork. They'll handle it all for you. And they'll deliver your braces for free. Call the Mobility Hotline now. The call's free. 1-800-557-6150. 1-800-557-6150. 1-800-557-6150.
Don't get your panties all in a bunch.
The Conservative Syndicate.net, exposing weapons of mass distraction. All right, we're back, and you are listening to the Conservative Syndicate. I'm glad we had a moment there to kind of catch our breath and refrain from saying things and perhaps using the language of a sailor. Okay, and
yeah, it was close.
real close. But moving on to another very distasteful topic here. We've talked on this show over the last few years, the last couple of years at least, because that's about how long it's been around now, as far as I remember. Common Core. Some of you remember, if you've listened to the show for a while, you know we talk about Common Core a lot, because Common Core is the government's answer to social engineering. You think the college campuses are whacked out now? Now they want to take care of everything else, from kindergarten all the way up to 12th grade, all the way up to senior year in high school. The government wants to be able to engineer the social thinking of the children, our children, going to school. And the underlying premise of Common Core at this point in the game, at this stage of the game, is that the government would set the objectives and say, okay, this is what we desire. This is what we want the students to be able to do by the time they reach, and goes through each phase, kindergarten and elementary school, junior high, and in high school. And by the time they get out of high school, there should be the abilities, certain abilities attached to students in terms of how they reason and how they think. And the object of Common Core is to get outside the traditional barriers. Joe was talking earlier about tradition. It's the idea of circumventing American heritage and tradition, but doing it in a way that looks like we're actually educating. We're teaching kids to think for themselves. And the parameters by which that has been done since our founding, as it has evolved more into progressive social engineering, has been equated to being part of the problem with what's wrong with America today, is that we think too much alike, and that's not good. That's not good. At least if you're a conservative, or at least if you're a traditionalist, if you're a constitutionalist. That these things are just too absolute and they're wrong, because after all, society has evolved and we've progressed, and things need to change to match that. So what's happened here, I guess the point I'm making here is that the government sets the objectives, but as of today, the government has no real curriculum. And so the idea is you can go out and create your own curriculum as long as it accomplishes the objective. And of course, the carrot dangling out there is federal funding. You want to continue to receive federal funding at a state level, you need to adhere to this this objective of the Department of Education at the federal level. And they're so solid on doing this. Of course, they put a man out there, Arnie Duncan, one of the leading proponents of homosexuality, in charge of the Department of Education. And we've seen where that's taken us in terms of bathroom bills, and all the other stuff that's going on. And that has also evolved into the public square, places like Target and stuff like that. Anyway, there's a station up in San Francisco, and where else would it come from but Sodom and Gomorrah, right? NPR, who else would do it? San Francisco Bay Area NPR affiliate KQED has published a comic book guide to Donald Trump's immigration policy aimed at students, which is titled Fear of Foreigners, and casts Trump as part of the history of nativism in America. Now, notice what they're saying here. A part of history, not the history of nativism, not Donald Trump as being the only one that's putting this out there. The bigger picture here is that America has always been racist. That is the message. And it's always been anti-immigrant, even though we are all immigrants, or we're all descendants from immigrants. There's nobody here, as far as I don't even think Native Americans, they had to come from somewhere. If you study history and anthropology, is that the word? Is that the right subject? How civilizations and people evolved and ended up in different parts of the world, conditions and environments and stuff like that. And people migrate and stuff. So at some point, I don't believe that Indians just one day. I don't believe when God created man, he said, I'm going to put some Cherokees over here in America, or some Apaches or something like that. I think it's like everything else. People have, over centuries, evolved and moved on because of litigating circumstances of where they're at. So, okay, but even if we give that, I'm rambling here a little bit because I really want to emphasize the point here that the purpose of this is to use Donald Trump as the example of what America should not be, but what America has always been. That's the way this guy puts out here. The comic book slideshow illustrated by Andy Warner is part of the series called The Lowdown. And it is, as the station has described it, connecting the newsroom to classroom. Now, this is what caught my eye. This is the Common Core curriculum. Because I remember talking about this in the show here, and talking about the fact, I looked at the history curriculum, or the objectives of the history program in Common Core, okay? Because history is my favorite subject, okay? So I thought, okay, I wonder how they're going to teach history. And I've got a niece who's a history teacher at Cal State Fullerton out here. And I said, I want to see how they do this. And the eventual objective of teaching history using Common Core is that by the 12th grade, the student should be able to present arguments contrary to traditional American teaching using sources other than books.
Really? Like what? Someone else's...
Like the internet.
Inflated opinion of themselves? For really? Other than books?
Yeah, well, they're supposed to be able to use, and they mention this, social media and the internet as their sources of information.
Because everything on the internet's true.
Yeah, and social media is always so honest.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, my goodness.
So the idea is to be able to take from different opinions that are being expressed out there, and you're supposed to be able to present an argument not to confirm what happened in history, but be able to deconstruct it, redefine it, and present it as something else. Okay, and that's literally what it is. It's not the exact wording. I'm paraphrasing it, but that is the objective. The objective is to be able to present arguments contrary to the traditional teaching of what America is about and how it evolved and everything else. Okay, now, if that is not social engineering, I don't know what is. And we see it in progress here. It's not like our college campuses have always been kind of a breeding ground for rebellion. When I was in college, I had my rebellious streak. But now we're talking about social engineering to such a degree that if you don't rebel, you're ostracized. Okay, it's kind of like, I've got family and friends that have kids in colleges that are, very, I'm going to say, for lack of a better word, devout Christians.
Well, if you're not going to school there and you're not taking Native American women's studies, something really, really useful.
Yeah.
We've gotten away from teaching our younger folks something actually useful that they can use in the outside world to be productive in our society. Yeah. I mean, learn something that you can build something with. Or now it's about deconstructing history to make it fit your own agenda.
Yeah, it's deconstructing history so that we can redefine what should have happened. And basically discount, let's push all the bad stuff off to the side here, and let's make it about something else. Let's make it about the objective of America has always been to create utopia. That's really what they want in Common Core. They want, and we have done all these bad things that have brought us to this place that progressivism is now addressing and saying we need to change and we need to go a different way. Okay, if we're going to reach utopia, we gotta beat ourselves, self-inflict all these wounds on us because of slavery, and all this other stuff, socioeconomic inequality, all the other crap that comes with just being a human being. We've all been given equal opportunity. We've all been given, God has given us all the opportunity to live a life. He has not given us a guarantee of the outcome.
Well, let's just remember they're using our tax dollars to present this.
Yeah. And just some of the quick examples here. I got about a minute here. We're a little bit over, but I want to tie this up here. The panels in this comic strip trace hostility to immigration from Benjamin Franklin in the mid-18th century to the know-nothings of the 1850s through the anti-Catholic Ku Klux Klan, the internment of Japanese Americans in World War II by FDR, and California's own Proposition 187 in 1994. If you don't know what that was a proposition out here that was passed by the voters, by the way, that said that people that were here illegally could not receive public benefits.
That's correct.
And the government overturned it.
Yeah, the court overturned it.
Okay, the great Ninth Circuit up there overturned it and said, no, you can't do that. You can't deprive illegal immigrants of taxpayer entitlements. Okay, so he goes on to say it's for the purpose of demonizing America without actually explaining the anti-immigration backlash, meaning what has immigration brought to us that has not been positive?
See, there's the problem I have with it, the anti-immigration backlash. No, that's BS. It's the anti-illegal immigration.
Yeah. So, anyway, we're running over here. We got to take a break here. We'll be right back. Stay with us right here at the Conservative Syndicate. Don't go away.
There is an old saying, children should be seen but not heard. At no time is this more apparent than when politicians speak. TheConservativeSyndicate.net, the adults in the room. Hey folks, if you're like me, you don't place a whole lot of trust in today's media for the real truth and facts regarding the volatile world of finance and politics. When I want the real scoop on money, I go to the most trusted source I know, my good friend and colleague, Bob Cardoso. Bob is a noted expert with a PhD in international finance who airs his nationally known, globally syndicated show, Robert Cardoso Live Daily, Monday through Friday, 3 to 5 p.m. Pacific Time. With Bob, you get the right information at the right time from someone who knows his business and can help you make the right decisions concerning yours. Again, Bob airs daily, Monday through Friday, 3 to 5 p.m. Pacific Time. Visit his website at robertcardosolive.com for information regarding stations and topics. That's robertcardosolive.com. Check Bob out. You'll be glad you did. History affirms a vibrant civil society thrives on freedom of conscience, religion, and choice. Any society absent these qualities stifles individual responsibility and accountability, thus enslaving its people by denying them their potential for goodness, creativity, and altruism. To that extent, oppression, coercion, and totalitarianism are multiplied exponentially. To counter such outcomes, the American Freedom Alliance was formed.
The AFA is a nonpartisan, non-aligned movement which promotes, defends, and upholds Western values and ideals. The Alliance strives to build an international coalition of citizens of the West who together promote and protect moral values, democracy, and freedom. To find out more and become part of this valuable asset in the preservation of freedom and all its rewards, contact us at AmericanFreedomAlliance.org. That's AmericanFreedomAlliance.org. Let freedom ring.
Don't get your panties all in a bunch.
The Conservative Syndicate.net, exposing weapons of mass distraction. All right, hey, we're back. And you are listening to the Conservative Syndicate. Hey, we want to encourage you. Take time to visit our website, theconservativesyndicate.net. And find out what you want to know about the show. If you're interested in what drives us, what motivates us. Of course, if you've been listening to us, you know what drives us and motivates us. It's the disease of liberalism. We're here to eradicate the epidemic of stupidity that has taken over America here and definitely leading us down a death spiral in and of itself. I mean, we talk about Obamacare being a death spiral. Well, America is in much worse shape than that right now, and we're hanging in. It's all kind of hanging in the balance right now. So, you know, they just a real quick mention here. We're going to, I hope, to breach this topic probably on Friday. I think on Friday we're probably going to get into talking about globalism versus nationalism kind of thing, and that's really what it's about right now. That is the direction the country's going. It is going towards globalism.
Well, that's the reason why this silly cartoon or whatever you want to call it up there in our nice progressive San Francisco KQED, funded by tax dollars. That's definitely that's the globalism right there. That's what this is about. It's not about, hey, let everybody come in and have a big happy party and find utopia. That's BS. And this panel here today, as countless Americans still struggle economically and the nation remains on edge after recent ISIS-inspired attacks, it's not surprising that Mexican immigrants and Muslim communities are the targets of this recent bout of nativism. Oh, that's BS to be, and it stinks to high heaven because it's not Mexican immigrants, it's illegal immigrants, period.
Right. And it's not Muslim immigrants, it's the danger of terrorism coming in with Muslim immigrants that we can't identify.
It's the Muslim refugees that are coming here from Syria. Instead of having them over in a safe space over in their own land, over in their own region of the world where they don't have to assimilate into our culture. That's what was a sensible thing to do. But no, these people want a voting bloc, and they want to go ahead and bring people, and they don't care about anybody else. They're putting these people, the illegals and the refugees, ahead of the United States citizens, and the citizens be damned.
Yeah.
And if you say anything about it, you're a racist, homophobic, xenophobic, misogynistic, whatever. I mean, all kind of stuff.
Yeah, you're deplorable.
You care more about your own fellow citizen than people that don't belong here.
Yeah, you're deplorable. You're just deplorable.
Yeah, I'm so dark. Ooh.
Yeah. So
had enough.
Okay, I get you, man. I'm with you there 100%. It's just see, the only way that America can right all the wrongs that we have perpetrated on the world is to join hand in hand with globalists and just all get together and sing Kumbaya up at the UN. You know, and that's what those little circular stars mean in the UN emblem. It's everybody. Those are people standing around singing. I'd like to teach the world to sing, and it's all about. That's our penance. Our penance for being such oppressors, for being such capitalists, for being the Satan of the West, is to just concede it all, surrender it all, and let's just join hands with the rest of the world. And we'll just live in the land of chocolate drops, and that's what it's all about. And
let's just forget that we freed the world from oppression in the 20th century.
Yeah. Let's forget about the fact that had the United States not gotten involved in World War II, the entire world would look completely different right now. including America.
Yes.
Okay. So let's not go that route. And it was funny. I was watching over the weekend. There was a Star Trek marathon, and it was the old Star Trek, the original Star Trek.
Yes. I've filled up my DVR. I've got so many episodes I can watch for 3 weeks straight. My DVR is full.
There were a couple of them that really got me. There was one where they had the Khans and the Yangs.
Yes.
Okay. And it turned out to be a society that had at one point evolved like America in the early days or something. And the Yangs were really Yanks, and the Khans were really communists.
Yeah. And it had one little a snippet of the Constitution.
Yeah. And that one, and the other one was where the guy became he turned the whole society into Nazi Germany. I can't remember what his name was, and then the people that he had as his, conspirators, he came into he was not supposed to, and both of them were about interfering with the Prime Directive, which is you're never supposed to get involved with what's going on, to do anything to alter what's going on in a civilization. And both the former Starfleet captains both violated that law in one degree or another. And the one where they all turned into Nazis, it was really, and I'm sitting there going, Gene Roddenberry really had I think, ahead of his time and seeing through some of these things, even though he himself was rather a liberal. But it was interesting. But anyway, that's the kind of stuff. That's what I'm talking about. We got to right the wrongs. We got to interfere with the Prime Directive. And make sure that we turn this thing around, because Americans left to their own resources will do nothing but heap wickedness and oppression on the rest of the world, even though all we've been doing is liberating people. Every place we go, we've never what's the old adage, how many countries have we fought for and defended, and then we turn around and said, okay, now this is part of the United States of America. We gave half of Mexico back to them, for crying out loud, and they still want it all. It's amazing the ignorance, willful ignorance of the people that are out there heading up these movements to redefine and destroy America heritage and history. Redefine it, rewrite history, and destroy anything that undermines what we were established on, the rights and not just the rights of the individual, but the responsibility and the accountability. Okay, liberals want the rights of the individual, but only within the parameters of the collective, because you don't want you can't have individual rights if you're violating the rights of somebody else, and that person is the one who defines what rights you're violating. And so it's just constantly back and forth, a no-win argument that leads to nowhere. So I was going to take a few moments here. Maybe we'll do it later. We may not get to it today, but there's another thing that got me out there, and that is Hillary Clinton using Colin Powell to justify her email server, and now Colin Powell seems to be pissed to the gills about it.
And he had a very, very good quote about Hillary Clinton. Of course, he didn't have anything nice to say about Donald Trump either.
Yeah, well, that's okay. That's okay. I understand. Here's a guy, Republican turned Democrat, general turned politician. So that. He falls right within that. He should be hanging out with the Navy Secretary right now, trying to decide, hey, who can we, hey, I know what we do. Let's name a ship after Bergdahl, because he's a hero.
Or what's his name, Chelsea, whatever her name is, that we got to pay for the sex change.
Oh, yeah. Oh, how about Caitlyn Jenner? There we go. The USS Caitlyn Jenner. All right. Of course, we could just nickname that Wheaties. All right. Hey, look, we got to go to break here. We're at the top of the hour here. Ron Edwards, and then we'll pay some bills, and we'll be back. Karen Sigmund will be joining us the next hour. Stay with us right here at the Conservative Syndicate.
Does Senator Dirty Harry Reid live in a parallel universe, or is he plagued with an overactive imagination? Hello, I'm Ron Edwards on today's page from the Edwards Notebook. The Senate's leading Democrat has proclaimed that the so-called Affordable Care Act, also known as Obamacare, has been terrific for this country. One of the hallmarks of Obamacare, according to Reid, is that 92% of all Americans now have health insurance. Of course, he omitted the fact that Americans are being coerced into government so-called health care via tyrannical fines if we don't sign up. Oh yeah, and those massive deductibles. In fact, the Obama administration has told Obamacare subscribers to pay no attention to those big premium hikes. Of course, there's no need to worry because U.S. taxpayers are forced through legal edict to pick up the draconian tab. In Tennessee, people are bracing for a 62% increase in premium costs. Oh, but it gets even better. Many Americans will now pay 20% or more of their income for a health care plan, and then having a deductible that is so enormous. For example, the Bronze Plan, individual's deductible is $7,000. There's so much terrific news regarding Obamacare. Maybe I can persuade Senator Reid to help me find it. Please inform me if you do. I'm Ron Edwards.
A healthy attitude toward politics will always be relentlessly cynical. The Conservative Syndicate.net, doing our part to keep America healthy.
Prices are for base buildings only. May not be available in some areas. Attention business owners, do you want a stimulus package that really works? Before you spend thousands of dollars more than you should on your next building project, listen to this. General Steel has a stimulus package designed to help you save as much as half the cost of conventional construction on your next building. As much as half. That's right. General Steel can save you thousands of dollars with a pre-engineered steel building designed for your business or church. How about a 50 by 100 foot building for under $30,000? So don't pay thousands more than you should without calling General Steel first and save as much as half the cost and time of conventional construction. With the projected demand for steel in Japan and China, prices may be skyrocketing.
877-927-3360. 877-927-3360. 877-927-3360. Term life insurance. It can be a powerful way to protect your assets and your family. You work hard to earn and save your money to build a nest egg for the future. Don't let it get wiped out because you didn't plan ahead. Take the time now and make a small investment in $500,000 or more in quality term life insurance. Call the Term Lifeline and let us shop the best companies to give you the lowest rates. We specialize in policies of $500,000 and above. Ask about some of our 10 and 20-year fixed rate plans with guaranteed rates. Call the Term Lifeline right now for your free insurance quote. 800-870-3609. 800-870-3609. You owe it to yourself to protect your family and your assets. Make term life insurance part of that plan. Call the Term Lifeline right now. 800-870-3609. 800-870-3609.
Hey folks, if you're like me, you don't place a whole lot of trust in today's media for the real truth and facts regarding the volatile world of finance and politics. When I want the real scoop on money, I go to the most trusted source I know, my good friend and colleague, Bob Cardosa. Bob is a noted expert with a PhD in international finance who airs his nationally known, globally syndicated show, Robert Cardosa Live Daily, Monday through Friday, 3 to 5 p.m. Pacific Time. With Bob, you get the right information at the right time from someone who knows his business and can help you make the right decisions concerning yours. Again, Bob airs daily, Monday through Friday, 3 to 5 p.m. Pacific Time. Visit his website at robertcardosalive.com for information regarding stations and topics. That's robertcardosalive.com. Check Bob out. You'll be glad you did.
Read something recently worth thinking about. It's the soldier, not the campus organizer, who's given us freedom to demonstrate. It's the soldier, not the reporter, who's given us freedom of the press. It's the soldier, not the poet, who's given us freedom of speech. It's the soldier who serves under the flag who defends the protesters' right to burn the flag. Isn't it time now to demonstrate that we support our troops? Were it not for the brave, there'd be no land of the free.
Fred Thompson's message was brought to you by citizensunited.org.
All you can do is just tell the truth and trust in the American people that over time they're going to know what the truth is.
Yes, it is time for the truth. Right here, right now. This is the Conservative Syndicate. Real conservative talk from real conservatives. With your host, John Matthews.
The latter-day prophet. Saying against the hypocrisies of our time.
And Joe Akos.
You want answers. I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
The Conservative Syndicate is comprised of some of the most informed pundits and activists available today. Together, we seek to tear down the imaginary wall, a separation between church and state through education, information, and engagement on the religion of politics and the politics of religion. And now, your host on the globally syndicated Conservative Syndicate, John Matthews and Joe Akos.
All right, hey, we're back. Hour two of the Conservative Syndicate, real conservative talk from real conservatives. I'm your host, John Matthews, along with Joe Akos, and we are here to educate, inform, and engage you, our listening audience, on the politics of religion and the religion of politics. And we do that here by simply speaking what we know and believe to be the truth, that America is America because of who we are and not what the enemy wants us to be or thinks we should be. Anyway, I mentioned just before the break, and this is our short segment of the show. We've got about 7-8 minutes or so. And I thought we could breach this topic about Colin Powell because I have made this statement several times, and I believe this to be wholeheartedly true, especially as we have seen the State Department become an arm of the corruption of the Clintons. Everything and everybody the Clintons tie themselves to or are associated with become corrupt. And it's just a matter of to what degree that corruption descends. But it is just historically proven. Everybody that they line up with ends up becoming corrupt. And so therefore, when you think about the people that have just in the last 8 years, so let's say since 2008, since 2008, when Hillary Clinton decided that she was going to be the first woman president, the first woman black president, by the way, since her husband was America's real first black president, everything that and everybody that she's been involved in has that corruption thing, or whatever you want to call it, to the nth degree. I mean, these people, I cannot believe we have that many evil people walking around in positions of authority and power. It's one thing to have a few, but good God. And now, I think it's even to some degree, been responsible for the decay of Congress in the fact that, nobody really, everybody kind of gets sucked into it. And, I can throw arbitrary things out there. I believe people like Supreme Court Justice John Roberts, there's something's wrong with this guy. Somewhere along the line, somebody dug up dirt on him, either him or somebody in his family or whatever. I believe that. I believe that that's why he makes decisions the way he does now. This was probably, in the beginning, thought of as probably one of the best choices for Supreme Court Justice and somebody that would preserve conservatism in the Constitution. And he has turned out to be worse than Robert Bork. Okay? So, anyway, having said that, Hillary Clinton, with her email scandals, as we know, is one of their attempts to justify what she has done, the corruption and the negligence and the ignorance, or however you want to paint it, whatever words you want to attach to it, tried to blame or try to tie her whole use of the email server to Colin Powell. Colin Powell was the one that not only told her he did it, but advised her to do it and actually told her how to set it up. Okay? And Colin Powell, in his own right is certainly a rhino, if nothing else. Well, he's become a Democrat, basically. But he's even pissed about it. He's mad that she drug him into this scandal, even after he apparently confronted her and her staff several times and told them, "Don't drag me into your mess."
Yeah, leave me out of this. This is your mess. You made it. You lie in it.
Yeah. So there have been some emails out there that have been leaked. Every time I read about this, every time I read about another politician or another department or some other leg of the government has been hacked, and then I listen to people like Jay Johnson say, "Well, we need to take over cybersecurity because everything hangs in the balance here. We got to preserve the integrity of the election system," knowing that these guys are the first. They have perverted everything, but the point is that they're not even smart enough to keep things from being hacked. So apparently, DC Leaks broke into and hacked Colin Powell's server, and Colin Powell's people have acknowledged that the emails that they reported on here were true. They are valid. They won't make any further comments other than to say, "Yep, that's what happened. That's what the emails say, and that's Colin Powell's position." So anyway. In one of the emails, I'm going to go with one, and I'll turn it over to Joe, let Joe talk about it. Powell wrote about at least one confidant about his repeated warning to Clinton not to blame him for the scandal. "I told her staff 3 times not to try that gambit. I had to throw a mini tantrum at Hampton's party. At a Hampton's party. That means they were together somewhere to get their attention. She keeps tripping into these character minefields." What a great choice of words there. And I know, Joe, you wanted to talk about I'm sure you're looking at the quote towards the end. Do you see that one?
I know the quote you're talking about.
Well, here, I'll read it here for the sake of time here because we're coming up on the end here. He says, another email he wrote, "They are going to dick up the legitimate and necessary use of emails with friggin' record rules. I saw email more like a telephone than a cable machine," which means he probably didn't use it that much. And he says, "As long as the stuff is unclassified, I had a secure state.gov machine. Everything HRC, meaning Clinton, touches, she kind of screws up with hubris."
Hubris. Hubris, yes. Arrogance. Let's see. Arrogance, excessive pride or self-confidence, excessive pride toward or defiance of the gods, leading to nemesis. Arrogance, conceit, haughtiness, pride, self-importance, egotism, pomposity.
Let's translate.
Everything. So, I like that one, and I like the other one where he said what Bill's been doing. Bill still,
the mafia. What was the other reference he made here? Hillary's mafia keeps trying to suck me into this.
Bill is still the D word. Bimbos at home.
So anyway, it's just I wanted to make you aware of that. Colin Powell's not a happy camper. We got to go to a break. When we come back, we should have Karen Sigmund with us, and we'll catch up with her and see what's going on in her life. Stay with us right here at the Conservative Syndicate. Don't go away.
A healthy attitude toward politics will always be relentlessly cynical. The ConservativeSyndicate.net, doing our part to keep America healthy.
When our water heater broke down last month, it was a nightmare. It took 5 hours for the plumber to show up, and he charged us a couple of $100 just to come out. Then it cost another $1,800 to put in the new water heater. By the time it was all said and done, I felt like I'd been taken. But what else could I do?
The smartest thing you can do is get a home warranty from American Residential Warranty. Their home warranties pay to repair or replace all your major appliances when they break, and they will break, and at the worst possible time. Call American Residential Warranty right now for free information on home home warranties starting at just pennies a day. Don't wait for your refrigerator to stop running or your ceiling fans to stop turning. Call American Residential Warranty right now. Ask how you can save up to 50% on washer and dryer coverage. Just call 1-800-790-5960. That's 1-800-790-5960. Again, 1-800-790-5960. Call now.
Limited time offer, 24-month commitment and credit qualification require cancellation fee, auto pay, and paperless billing, and other restrictions apply. If you can't see the difference, why pay the difference? Switch to Dish for the best deal in entertainment. Only Dish brings you the best in entertainment for less than $20 a month. Cut the cable and don't get directed. Switch to Dish because at just $19.99, Dish saves you every time you turn on the TV. It's so simple. The same channels cost less with Dish. So since you can't see the difference, don't pay the difference. Switch to Dish for the best deal in entertainment. Get premium movie channels free for 3 months, starting at just $19.99. Dish saves you every time you turn on the TV. Call now to save with Dish. Dial 1-800-600-1645. That's 1-800-600-1645. The same channels for less than $20 a month. Dish. Call 1-800-600-1645 for details.
Hey folks, if you're like me, you don't place a whole lot of trust in today's media for the real truth and facts regarding the volatile world of finance and politics. When I want the real scoop on money, I go to the most trusted source I know, my good friend and colleague, Bob Cardoso. Bob is a noted expert with a PhD in international finance who airs his nationally known, globally syndicated show, Robert Cardoso Live Daily, Monday through Friday, 3 to 5 p.m. Pacific Time. With Bob, you get the right information at the right time from someone who knows his business and can help you make the right decisions concerning yours. Again, Bob airs daily, Monday through Friday, 3 to 5 p.m. Pacific Time. Visit his website at robertcardosolive.com for information regarding stations and topics. That's robertcardosolive.com. Check Bob out. You'll be glad you did.
Attention taxpayers. If you've received a notice from the IRS or state, do not ignore it. It's also a big mistake to try and handle your tax problem on your own. If you owe back taxes, it's a fact that the government has the power to take everything you own, including your home, business, wages, savings, and your freedom. But here's the good news. There's a special toll-free tax hotline set up especially for you. This tax hotline will tell you about new programs that are geared to help you dramatically settle, reduce, or eliminate what you owe. But you have to call now. Take down this number or put it in your cell phone. But call 866-761-0959. 1-866-761-0959. When you call, you get free information on how you can reduce or eliminate back taxes, including penalties and interest. You can also be helped if you have unfiled returns, a tax lien, wage garnishment, bank levy, or if you've been entered into a payment plan but can't make the payments. Don't make the big mistake in thinking you can ignore or handle your tax problem on your own. You can stop the collection process immediately. Call this special tax hotline today for free info at 1-866-761-0959. That's 1-866-761-0959. 1-866-761-0959.
Don't get your panties all in a bunch.
The Conservative Syndicate.net, exposing weapons of mass distraction. Okay, hey, we're back, and you are listening to the Conservative Syndicate, real conservative talk from real conservatives. I'm your host, John Matthews, along with Joe Hakos, and we have very special guest with us, returning out there from the doldrums of Los Angeles, California. Our former senior conservative panel member, Karen Sigmund, and she's come on the show to share with us some real exciting things that's going on with her. How are you doing, my dear?
I am great. It's so terrific to be back with you guys. It really, I miss you.
Well, you did not as much as we miss you. I mean, it's just me. Well, yeah, you know, when Joe and I get tired of talking to each other all day long. So,
well, it was always great being on with you guys. You were so and I'm sure I know you still are. Yeah. So energizing and informative and inspiring and motivational and. Yep, I'm in the doldrums now, as you say.
Well, we've become one other thing. We're now deplorable.
Yeah, we're now deplorable.
Yay, us.
In fact, one of the things I hope to do before this week is over is I'm going to go through Hillary Clinton's list of deplorable things and explain why, yes, I am every one of those things and more.
So
it's my new goal in life to be as deplorable as possible. And I'm not even a fan, as you know, but my goodness me, how insulting she is of fellow Americans. One day she says, I want to be president of all of us, and the next one, except you deplorables in your little basket. It's so disgraceful.
Well, I just think, a lot of the memes that I'm seeing out there are representing her as the despicable. That cartoon.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
The despicable talking about the deplorables. I mean,
welcome to 2016 America.
It doesn't get any
to Obama's America. Really, he's the one who set the stage for the general insultingness of one another.
Yeah, well, before we get into talking about your organization and what you're doing right now, I did want to get your take on. We've just been talking about this because it's just, I don't know, it's just such good news here. I mean, we could have so much fun with it. Hillary's health condition. What are you hearing in your end of the world?
Well, I just heard that I was just listening to the news, which I don't as much as I used to, of course, but it sounds like all the doctors are giving her 2 thumbs up. So I don't know what we're even talking about. What are we worrying about here? John? Joe? I think she's in perfect health. Isn't that what the video looked like over the weekend?
She's in great
health. Just a minor stumble?
Absolutely. I want her to jog around the debate stage once they do the debates. I don't want her to sit down at all. Run around the stage and have a great time, Hillary.
Maybe we should just forego debates altogether and put them both on an obstacle course and let them have at it.
Well, Donald Trump's been used to the wrestling ring before with the WWF back in the day, so let him do
it.
Yeah.
Well, and I heard he says that the exercise he gets is the gesticulating he does on stage. So between the two of them, what happened to us, guys? What happened to us?
That's a $64 question, and the truth is, if we're really honest, Karen, it isn't the candidates that's at fault here. As you say, it's us.
It's us.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the electorate. We have just fallen asleep. We've expected too much. I thought of this a long time ago, and it's the kind of the way I explain things. What's happened is, we as Americans have we've fallen into this paradigm of thinking once we elect somebody, they're going to actually do what we elect them for. And the fact that they've been able to keep it in the dark so long that they haven't been doing it, and now that it's been exposed literally on both sides, it's like now everybody's kind of waking up and going, what's going on? But it's like anytime you're in a dark room for too long and you turn the light on, the first thing you do is shout, turn the light off. Nobody really wants to know what's going on. We really don't want to know how bad it is.
Well, I think that's part of it, but surely, those of us who participated in the primaries and so on, we're actually pretty awakened. And I think there's part of what you said, but also we've sort of rebounded to such a huge extent the opposite way, that we don't trust any of them. I've said this before. We're sort of at the intersection of, I don't want to say a bad word, but to heck with you all, and right, and dead to me. Dead to me meaning anybody in the political realm who's done anything I dislike. And I'm just angry at everybody. And so we wind up with a reality TV show guy who's charismatic, and there's nothing in his public life you can point to one way or another. And that's where we are. We've rebounded with. We think that we're being smart with our eyes open, and we don't trust any politicians. And look who we get, a guy who yesterday said it's the federal government's role to meddle in maternity leave issues. If he had said this from the debate stage during all the primaries, people would have gone completely ballistic. This is far more rhino-ish talk than anybody else, any of the other 16. So it's really astonishing what we've done to ourselves, and now people are bending all over backwards to say, oh, yeah, but he's right about it, which is preposterous.
Yeah.
So,
well,
we've been asleep, but then we woke up with utter paranoia, and here we are.
Yeah. I had to bring this whole thing down to be able to stomach it. And to be able to deal with it on some level that would relate to my beliefs as a Christian conservative, I had to bring it down to one issue, and it's the only issue I really hang on to, and that is the Supreme Court hangs in the balance here. We got a 50-50 shot. Trump does it right, and a 100% chance Clinton will do it wrong. And that's really where I'm at here, because I really believe if we lose the balance that we have in the Supreme Court, we're going to be in a world of hurt. I don't know that we're going to ever be able to totally recover from this.
Right. Yes, of course. With her, we have 100% certainty, except we have to we've already blown it. I mean, it's possible we lose the Senate, and so none of it actually matters, because whoever he wants might not get in, and I think we're really at the point where we've got to do something like a convention, liberty amendments, a la Mark Levin. And the fact that this election not only holds the presidency in the balance, but also the Supreme Court, which in fact has more meaning, that's just wrong.
Yeah.
That is not how this is supposed to be.
No.
It is not supposed to be that one guy or two guys, and I mean that guy generic, male or female, creates a situation where we, our children, and possibly our children's children, because of what's on the Supreme Court, is going to color everything that happens in the United States. That can't happen.
Yeah.
That we've thrown it so completely out of whack, and I think that absolutely has to change. But here's Donald Trump, who says, sorry, I just have to say this, I'm going to, when I'm president, I'm going to have the Supreme Court investigate Hillary. Wake up, Mr. Trump. This is not what the Supreme Court does.
Yeah.
And one of the other things that he said is he doesn't care about the Senate. Yes, you have to care about the Senate. It's just astonishing to me, the level of ignorance of this man. But, yes, with him we have maybe a 50-50 chance. With her, we have a 100% chance. Although, look at Roberts. Appointed by Bush, everybody thought he was conservative. He had been ruling in a conservative way his entire life up until Obamacare. So,
well, that's what we've been talking about. We were just talking. It's funny you should mention that. I just mentioned this just before you came on about how when we look at we were talking about Colin Powell being upset that Hillary Clinton is trying to lay the whole email thing on him, that he's the one that told her to set the emails up and everything else. And we get into this balance and what's going on in the country, and the level of corruption, not only in leadership positions, but the people that support them. And you look at all this, and I said, I can't help but think, I just can't help but think that when John Roberts came into the Supreme Court, he was chosen because of his conservative history, but somewhere, somehow, there is something on him that they have, whether it's him or somebody in his family. And I think that's exactly how the government works now. It's like you just find the dirt on the person. That's why you can't get anybody with any integrity to run for office, because they don't want people prying into their private life.
Exactly. Oh, absolutely. I mean, you got to be nuts to run for president right now, or any of these things. It's life destroying. But which is also sort of why anybody puts in there, they're vulnerable anyway.
Let me put it to you this way, Karen. Let me present this question to you, because it's like a catch-22 right now. We're damned if we do and we're damned if we don't, almost. But you talk about the ignorance of Trump, and I would agree. I mean, this guy is far from the ideal candidate. But But you've got, and everybody talks about his lack of temperament, and he's not presidential and everything else, but no experience, no knowledge and everything else. But let's look at the other side. Hillary Clinton, who's been here almost since the country was founded, for crying out loud, and she's got all this quote unquote experience. She's supposed to be the best qualified person since Thomas Jefferson to run for office, for crying out loud. And you look at everything that she's done and everything she's touched. Well, what has that experience gotten us? It's gotten us in deep, So it's like
absolutely. But to me, it's not a matter of a lack of experience. It's a matter of almost every adult decision that he has made has not been for the right, it's been for the left. Mm-hmm. All his gut reaction. Anyway, it really doesn't matter. We can tear him apart. It doesn't matter. I don't like him, but as you say, Supreme Court. She is in bed with the Muslim Brotherhood, and he is not. Everything that she's done as Secretary of State has been mind-blowingly damaging to the world geopolitical situation. It's put anybody who's been affected by anything she's done has only been harmed by it. And that includes women now. It includes, everything that she's done has damaged. I don't, experience or not experience. Yes, everything that she's done has been harmful, and I will not in any way ever support anyone who, when you do look at what they've done, has been harmful. Just not going to happen. Yeah. So I don't like him. He's done bad things. I don't trust him. I think he has fascistic tendencies. But we know, as you said about the Supreme Court, we know about her. We know exactly where she's going to come down on every decision that's important to us or important globally. We don't entirely know decisions that he will make. So much as I can't stand him, not that it matters in California anyway, but seriously, she's going to win an election, and not that it matters in the country necessarily anyway either. But I got to interrupt you, Karen. I got to interrupt you because we're over here. We got to run a break here. When we come back, we've got Karen Sigmund with us, and when we get back, we're going to talk about her latest endeavor, the American Freedom Alliance. Stay with us right here at the Conservative Syndicate. Don't go away.
Ever wonder how the credit card companies make their money? Well, think about this. If you owe $25,000 on 5 different credit cards and you make your minimum payments every month, here's what it's going to cost you. Are you sitting down? You'll shell out over $13,000 in additional interest, and it's going to take over 13 years to pay off your original $25,000 balance. That's how they make money. Now it's your turn to fight back by calling the Debt Solutions Network. We'll work on your behalf to reduce your debt. We specialize in credit cards, retail store cards, and medical bills. We promise we can and will reduce your debt. Call right now for a free 15-minute debt analysis. 800-709-4392. 800-709-4392. 800-709-4392. 800-709-4392.
Expand your life with Expandovite.
When I had a heart attack at 42, I was not sure what the future held. But a year later, the doctors could find nothing wrong with me and took me off all my medication. What did I do? I took a herbal mixture of garlic, cayenne, and a few other herbs mixed in liquid form. I now call this Extendovite. I would have never believed that a few simple herbs could actually change my life like they did. Now it's your turn to see what the powers of garlic and cayenne can do for you. For only $69.95 plus shipping and handling for a 2-month supply of either capsules or liquid, you too can begin on your path to better health. For more information, call 1-877-928-8822. That's 1-877-928-8822. Or visit our website at heartdrop.com.
Expand your life with Expand.
I've owned my company for 14 years now, and I can tell you that payroll is a 4-letter word. I hate doing it. It eats up hours I don't have, and it costs me money I could be saving. But my accountant's too expensive, and I'm not sure who to call, but I know I need help.
We're Paychex, and we take all the hassles out of small business payroll. We save you time and money. It's easy. Call, fax, or give us your payroll information securely online, and we take care of the rest. We calculate the correct taxes, manage payments and direct deposits. We even send out your checks. Payroll doesn't need to be a 4-letter word anymore. We're so sure that we can save you time and money that we'll give you a month's payroll free. Just for calling 877-663-3830. Get 1 month's payroll for free. Call Paychex right now. 877-663-3830. That's 877-663-3830.
Hey, I don't back anybody unless I believe in them. And I do believe in the value of investing in gold and silver. And the company I trust to buy my gold and silver from is Swiss America. I've been working with them for nearly a decade. I trust them, and you can too. Swiss America will help you sort through and find the best options available when you're considering investing in gold and silver coins. Listen, for over 30 years, Swiss America has been offering Americans what they want in their investments: safety, liquidity, quality, reliability, and a potential profit. Gold and silver have a place in every investor's portfolio. So why not let Swiss America help you diversify your investment portfolio now? Call now for free information. 800-978-3907. 800-978-3907. 800-978-3907. 800-978-3907.
If you've got joint pain, let me ask you a question. Would you like a high-quality knee, back, shoulder, or ankle brace at little or no cost? But just in case your reception isn't great, let me ask you again. Would you like a pain-relieving knee, back, shoulder, or ankle brace at little or no cost? Well, if you have Medicare insurance, you could qualify for these pain-relieving braces at little or no cost. And these are high-quality braces. They are very comfortable, and they've helped thousands relieve their pain. Now, I'd like you to imagine going on vacation, playing with your grandkids, just living your life again without pain. The Mobility Hotline is a referral service that connects folks with Medicare coverage and other insurance to accredited companies offering pain-relieving braces at little or no cost. And don't you worry about the Medicare paperwork. They'll handle it all for you. And they'll deliver your braces for free. Call the Mobility Hotline now. The call's free. 1-800-557-6150. 1-800-557-6150. 1-800-557-6150.
Don't get your panties all in a bunch.
The Conservative Syndicate.net, exposing weapons of mass distraction. Okay, hey, we're back, and you are listening to the Conservative Syndicate, real conservative talk from real conservatives. I'm your host, John Matthews, along with Joe Hakos, and we have with us Karen Sigmund from not only Rage Against the Media. Some of you may remember her from her days doing that here on our show, but she's also now heading up a new not a new organization. She's a new board of director at the American Freedom Alliance. I guess I wanted to start out, Karen. Just tell us real quickly here, because I want you to talk about the Alliance more than anything. How's it going with Rage Against the Media?
Well, since it's so sad to talk about, it's never been more important. We're seeing the damage of the media. We've seen it for decades and years, but now with this particular election cycle, it's really it's impossible to contend with. When we tried to hold, we've always tried to be nonpartisan, to hold all media accountable and so on, but we're seeing, this Trump phenomenon has made it so that the idea of fighting for truth, people on our side just don't want to do it either. So we've sort of, the page is still active, but we're not particularly doing anything until November 9th. After the election, we'll regroup and figure out where we are. We just have to sort it all out. It's awful. We had been posting things, truth. That's what we've always stood by. That the media needs to report the truth, but when we don't want it either, it's just caused more trouble, and it's been extremely disheartening.
Yeah, well, the one thing about this election is about the media more than I think in elections past, and certainly things are happening, and there's so much of it. There's so much bias and so much prejudice, and that it's like you can't even keep up with it. And you know, I was thinking it's got to be overwhelming at this point, because I know we're overwhelmed on this side.
It's completely overwhelming. I don't even mind being overwhelmed. But when you post something that's a factual correction about something that Donald Trump said, and people lose their minds over it, there's no point. Yeah. There's just no point. When Breitbart, that used to be one of our go-to news sources, has become, I mean, obviously, look at Steve Bannon. It became completely untrustworthy. Fox News was all in for Trump. Trump has become such a polarizing guy. Everything is either completely for him, completely against him. The truth is thrown out the window, and it's impossible. So we'll just wait till after the election, and then we'll see where we are. But he is a master at playing the media. He, like I said, he's a reality TV show guy. He's brilliant at it. He knows how to play this game. So, and people tell me all the time, Karen, you should be thrilled at how he's holding the media to task. No, he's not. He is absolutely not holding the media to task. He is a master at manipulating for his own purposes. Rage Against the Media is about the truth, and the truth has gone by the wayside. So, yeah, it's been very disheartening. But I'm looking forward to November, when we can figure out where we are and then get back to talking about, hopefully we can get back to talking about the truth. Because one of the things I used to say was, if the truth were relevant to the left, there would be no left. and I'm finding more and more, people on the right are sort of that way too. And it's been discouraging to see. So I've just sort of gone dark on that. But, as you point out, I am now heading up, it's an old organization. It's about a 10-year-old organization, American Freedom Alliance. And, wow, what we do is, it's really an astonishingly powerful organization. Our focus is broader. I don't know if any of your listeners have heard of it, but it's here in Los Angeles, although we're starting to do more things nationwide. 10 years old, founded by a man named Avi Davis, who was such an intellectual powerhouse, and he died last December. Mm-hmm. And people were very worried that it would just go away. He was kind of a one-man show. And with organizations like that, more often than not, they do just sort of go away. But a group of us got together and kept it from going under. And as a matter of fact, we are more powerful now than we were before. So very, very pleased.
Let me kind of fill in our listeners here what we're talking about here. The American Freedom Alliance. I'll read you verbatim here their vision. I just like the way this is all written here. It says, the American Freedom Alliance aims to build an international coalition of citizens of the West, which involves writers, academic thinkers, and citizens from around the world who will join together through seminars, conferences, publications, and activist networks to promote and protect moral values, democracy, and freedom. And so this is a I guess we would say probably one of the better, at least better defined grassroots movements out there that have actually defined. When as I was reading this and looking at the site and everything, I was contrasting it to the Tea Party, who started out so well, but then just kind of has gone into so many different directions, and then you have people involved in the Tea Party that are just using it to make money, and it's become, in some ways, I think, it never centralized to the place where they had a common goal or a common objective as to what they really wanted to accomplish. And so because of that, the media is able to point, in any specific direction, and blame the Tea Party for a lot of what's going on. The Tea Party has taken a lot of the rap for Donald Trump, even though they didn't really have anything to do with that. So it's just how everything gets grouped into, that specific labeled box of, right-wing extremist kind of things. But the organizations you've got here, I mean, some of these people on your staff here, I know. What's his name? Mark Shaw, Gary Amanoff. I know these people. John Hancock. So I know you got some pretty dynamite personalities helping you out there. What's hot on your plate right now? What are you guys really focusing on right now? Well, let me ask you this. Let me lead you. Let me lead you here. One of the things you talk about is the Islamic penetration of Europe. How did the Brexit situation affect what you guys are doing in the group?
Couple things. Let me just step back if I can. What you read is the vision, and it really is. Yes, we are specific in that way, but also American Freedom Alliance has 5 specific goals. I mean, obviously American freedom, right? But we're also talking about Western civilization, Judeo-Christian. We're talking about the values that we hold. And what AFA is set up to do is protect and defend those values against 5 specific threats. One is global governance, everything to do with the UN, and any other organization that seeks to diminish nation sovereignty. Islamic penetration, we're expanding it not just in Europe, but now, of course, here. Radical environmentalism. This is a huge problem. This whole global warming nonsense, whose sole purpose is to get us, that permits people to have more power over us one way or another. The corruption and bias of our academic institutions, K through 12 and universities, and then, of course, my favorite, the media. So these are the 5 main things that American Freedom Alliance contends with. So the media, of course, natural, place for me to be with Rage Against the Media. Academia, my doctorate is in that. So there's really a lot of overlap. We just had a phenomenal conference on Islam. Phenomenal. It was absolutely astonishing. Mm-hmm. And we will be taking that on the road. We did it in Los Angeles. We'll do it in New York. We're looking in Texas, maybe Chicago, not Chicago, maybe Washington. So we'll be doing that. As to Brexit gave a lot of hope to a lot of people for a lot of reasons. It's the reassertion of sovereignty over some supranational organization, in that case the European Union. Some of it was because of Islam, the refugee situation, not all of it, but some of it, and it woke people up. I was also in Europe this summer during the time when there were all these not all these, but there were the axe murders and other slaughters in Europe, and Europeans are feeling helpless against what's going on, and it's really awful. One of the things that came up in our conference is we had 3 people speak from Europe. Mm-hmm. Europe is, to many people, lost, and we brought them over from Europe as they're the canary in the coal mine. That when this and this happens, when you let these numbers of people in, of any kind, they're going to change your demographic. Even if a tiny fraction of them is violent, still the changes that occur when you let so many people in of a mindset that's completely counter to what you believe in. Mm-hmm. They're not assimilating. They're voting for for their kinds of laws, not your kinds of laws. The destabilization is tremendous. So, Brexit, is it a harbinger of what's going to happen in the rest of Europe? I hope it's put the rest of Europe on notice that you don't get to just run roughshod over our nationhood, if you will.
I agree.
And
because
I thought it was very heartening.
I was in the same situation we were in the British Isles a few months ago, and talking to people. I mean, Brexit was just coming down the pipe as we were over there. I think the election was like a week after we left or something. And the common theme, the people that I talked to in England, Ireland, and Scotland, was that immigration was the issue, and they really did feel like we've lost control of who we are and what we're doing, because we have people making decisions for us that we don't even know who's making the decisions for us, that kind of thing. That was the general consensus that I got here. I got to take a quick break here. This is our short break. We got to take a quick break here. We'll be right back. We've got Karen Sigmund from the American Freedom Alliance. Stay with us right here at the Conservative Syndicate. We'll be right back.
There is an old saying, children should be seen but not heard. At no time is this more apparent than when politicians speak. TheConservativeSyndicate.net, the adults in the room. Hey folks, if you're like me, you don't place a whole lot of trust in today's media for the real truth and facts regarding the volatile world of finance and politics. When I want the real scoop on money, I go to the most trusted source I know, my good friend and colleague, Bob Cardoso. Bob is a noted expert with a PhD in international finance who airs his nationally known, globally syndicated show, Robert Cardoso Live Daily, Monday through Friday, 3 to 5 p.m. Pacific time. With Bob, you get the right information at the right time from someone who knows his business and can help you make the right decisions concerning yours. Again, Bob airs daily, Monday through Friday, 3 to 5 p.m. Pacific time. Visit his website at robertcardosolive.com for information regarding stations and topics. That's robertcardosolive.com. Check Bob out. You'll be glad you did. History affirms a vibrant civil society thrives on freedom of conscience, religion, and choice. Any society absent these qualities stifles individual responsibility and accountability, thus enslaving its people by denying them their potential for goodness, creativity, and altruism. To that extent, oppression, coercion, and totalitarianism are multiplied exponentially. To counter such outcomes, the American Freedom Alliance was formed. The AFA is a nonpartisan, non-aligned movement which promotes, defends, and upholds Western values and ideals. The Alliance strives to build an international coalition of citizens of the West who together promote and protect moral values, democracy, and freedom. To find out more and become part of this valuable asset in the preservation of freedom and all its rewards, contact us at AmericanFreedomAlliance.org. That's AmericanFreedomAlliance.org. Let freedom ring.
Don't get your panties all in a bunch.
The ConservativeSyndicate.net, exposing weapons of mass distraction. All right, hey, we're back, and you are listening to the Conservative Syndicate, real conservative talk from real conservatives. We have with us Karen Sigmund, former Conservative Syndicate panel contributor, and now board of directors, head of the board, the director, chairman of the board.
Chairman of the board, that's me.
Chairman of the board of the American Freedom Alliance. And we've got just a few minutes here left, Karen. I'd like you to just kind of point out, what do you guys have on the drawing board here over the next few months?
Oh my gosh, it's really breathtaking how much we have. First of all, we hold monthly events called literary cafes, where we invite an author to come. These are always held in somebody's home. They're like old-fashioned salons. We have hors d'oeuvres and beverages, adult beverages, and we sit and I talk with the author about the book. And then we have open discussion. We had John Hancock, you mentioned you know him, his book, Liberty and Prosperity, phenomenal. We had about 30 people at his salon. Mm-hmm. We had Howard Hyde, who's also a member of our board, his book about Berkeley, Escape from Berkeley, and how he became a conservative. We have one coming up now with Guy Yale, who's one of our fellows, and he's written over 40 books, mostly on the topic of Islam. He's just emigrated from France, talking about, I think his new book is called Twilight Over Europe, How Europe is Lost. Then we have another one of an art book. So we have literary cafes every month. We have we've got Trevor Loudon's movie, Enemies from Within. His Trevor Loudon, if you don't know who he is, I urge you to Google him. He's written an amazing book about communists and Muslims within our government, and his movie is just coming out this week, Enemies from Within. We'll be hosting a movie on that. I believe it's October 15th.
I've been playing phone tag with Trevor, trying to get him on the show here.
Oh my gosh, he is phenomenal. So he'll be in California for a few days in October. He's touring the country. I think it's October 15th. It's a Saturday. We have a dinner with Phil Haney, the DHS whistleblower, coming up next week. Then we have two conferences next year. One of them is on the First Amendment, how we are losing our First Amendment rights, various of them. Of course, free speech, the press, and freedom of religion. So we'll be talking about that. Our second conference next year, we've got a couple potential things in the works. One is the long march that the left has taken. They call it the long march through the institutions, how the left has taken over everything. We're looking at that and a couple of other things. We have evening forums. We're going to have a forum with various people involved in Islamic reform. This was born out of our big conference. So that's important. So we've got so much going on. It's really hard to fathom. Every month there's something, and 2 to 3 major events every year. So we are focused, as I said, on freedom, preserving our freedoms. We are nonpartisan, non-aligned, but of course, it's only the right interested in these freedoms. It's only the right interested in making sure that nations remain sovereign, that Islam not be allowed to destroy us, that radical environmentalism not get in the way of our freedoms, that our academic institutions remain true academic institutions that have academic integrity, not being vehicles for bias and indoctrination, and of course our media. So that's what we do. We're incredibly active. We've got a few initiatives going on. There's things that we want to do with the schools. We're fighting with UCLA right now about climate change, a climate change event that they, of course, don't want to host, and we want them to. We're incredibly active, and no matter who wins in November, the issue of freedom is so fundamental. And as you said, the Tea Party, you mentioned the Tea Party before, it lost its way. And AFA, we are doing everything we can to not only not lose our way, but what we do is so critically important. We see our role as only growing. And only and becoming more and more and more necessary and powerful. So we're very focused on these 5 things. We've got a lot of initiatives going on, and it's so critical. You had mentioned before, we tend to look at elections, that whoever we send to Washington should be the answer. By now we should know that is not the case. When the left has taken over academia, the media, Hollywood, discourse everywhere, we have to be the same. We have to fight back on every front that they've already identified. We have to be talking to people in the checkout line at everywhere we are, where they're comfortable indoctrinating. We need to do the same.
All right.
We cannot shy back anymore.
I got to interrupt you here because we're running out of time. You guys want to check out Karen's website, AmericanFreedomAlliance.org. That's AmericanFreedomAlliance.org. We'll put a link up on our website, theconservativesyndicate.net, so you can find it if you can't remember that many words in a row.
Yes, and AmericanFreedomAlliance.org/blog, which is our new, more updated, yeah, I know it's a lot of words, AmericanFreedomAlliance.org/blog has a lot of our new content. We're able to refresh that really quickly. So find us on YouTube. And find us on Facebook.
Okay. All right. Well, I appreciate you coming on, Karen. I know you're on a busy schedule, and it's great. It's so great to talk to you again. And
you too. Really.
Yeah. And since you're local here, we will have to get there. When we get together to lunch, we'll talk about what we can do in this show to help your organization. But I appreciate you coming on.
That's great. My pleasure. Great to talk to you, too.
Okay. God bless. All right, guys. End of the show here. We'll be back tomorrow, 3 o'clock out here on the left coast, 6 o'clock on the east coast. Remember to check out our website, theconservativesyndicate.net. We love you guys. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
Thanks for tuning in to this edition of the Conservative Syndicate, the nationally acclaimed, globally syndicated, politically incorrect talk show that seeks to tear down the imaginary wall of separation between church and state. We want to make you aware you can find and access all our show archives at our website, theconservativesyndicate.net, as well as our broadcast stations and times. That's theconservativesyndicate.net. We so appreciate you taking the time to tune in, and we so look forward to continuing to bring you the best in uncompromised talk radio available on the net today. And remember, folks, it doesn't matter how many times you get knocked down in life. It only matters how many times you get up. I'm John Matthews, along with Joe Hago, signing off until next time right here at the Conservative Syndicate. God bless you, and may God continue to bless America.